Hey, look at me. I'm the captain now.
Damn.
This is
Damn.
another episode of Small Guys Podcast.
Wow.
We start now.
Wow.
I'll put that in at the end, Mike. That was good.
Okay.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Small Guys Podcast. Today we are reviewing Captain Phillips from 2013. The true story about Captain Richard Phillips, the 2009 hijacking by Somali pirates of the U.S.-flagged MV Alabama, the first American cargo ship to be hijacked in almost 200 years. It's 2 hours, 14 minutes, 93% critic score, 89% audience score. What did you guys think of this movie? Andrew, this is your recommendation. So we should start with that. What made you want to pick this?
Two things. One, I remember when I saw this movie a couple years ago, it was like on TV, and I had caught it right as it was starting, and I was like, let me check this out. Tom Hanks. I knew really nothing about it at all. I watched it through. I was like, damn, that's pretty good. I enjoyed it. And then I recently saw, it had an impact that was like, man, I remember looking stuff up after. I was like, oh, it's based on, there's a book that the real life Captain Phillips wrote. And then I recently just saw, honestly, it was on Netflix. And I thought, you know what, this is a good one. I feel like we can talk through and cover. I enjoyed it. I think it's just over 2 hours, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 213.
213, yeah, and it doesn't feel too long. I feel like the pacing in this is pretty solid. They do a good job. Right off rip too. The soundtrack in the background of this really, really good. Very anxiety ridden the whole time.
Yeah, like the score.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was very good.
Oh yeah,
that's a good
so
point.
I love this movie. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. This is one of those movies that I've been putting off for a really long time. I've always seen it. I'm scrolling on Netflix, and I was just like, I have to watch it. I never had a reason to.
Was this your first time, Mike?
First time through.
Oh,
first time through.
Cool.
So I was really happy with the way things went. I will say, we'll talk about it a little bit, but just kind of the pacing, I was really happy with. I thought it was pretty good, but it surprised me the turn it took in terms of I mean, we can get into it here, but just how quick Captain Phillips just got off the ship and just the whole kind of negotiation between that,
I think that's what probably half of the movie. So the movie starts out, you get to see Tom Hanks and his wife. I forget the actor's name off the top of my head. Either of you know it?
Her name, I know her. I'm looking at it right now. Andrea Phillips.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's
she's cool. I forgot she was in.
Her real name's Catherine Keener.
Oh, 40-year-old virgin. Yeah,
40-year-old virgin.
And Get Out as well. Correct. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. She's pretty cool. It starts out, you get to see Tom Hanks just he's a somewhat regular guy, not in a fancy car, and he's just getting ready for work. His work just happens to be captain of a massive cargo ship. Come to find out, these guys don't make. I looked it up after this movie. They don't make that much money, which is kind of disappointing. It's 70 to maybe 100K to captain this and this massive ship. I mean, yeah, I'm sure a lot of it's automated, but still, I mean, kind of a lot of pressure.
Well, I think too, you have to know a lot. You have to know everything about that ship. You got to be your baby.
Yeah, it's like a pilot for a plane. Yeah, they're flying the plane, but they're supposed to know everything about that aircraft too, which is a lot of knowledge that you have to know about. But yeah, no. So kind of starts off. He's just getting ready, going to work. Kind of gets his route, sees where it's at. You can kind of tell he's just another day on the job, but also oh man, this is where I gotta go. Gets rocking and rolling. Heads to the port. You kind of see him take off, and at that point, I believe it cuts to a shot with in Somalia with some of the pirates.
Yeah, what did you guys think of them showing their side of the story of how it began for them to do what they do, which is be pirates?
I liked it. I thought it. I mean, it makes it. I mean, we sitting at home watching a movie, we're thinking man, what a bunch of idiots, this is stupid, what, just animals, crazy, what is going on, why aren't they thinking through this stuff more, why are they making such rash decisions? But they do kind of briefly say as to why in the movie. I feel they mention, the U.S. and all these big countries take all of our fish. We were just fishermen. So there is a little bit of reasoning as to why, but still,
Yeah.
we get to say that it's wrong as we sit in our cozy chairs. We don't have to, fight for our food.
So two things with that. One, like you said, Andrew, it brings substance to like their whole background. And I think for the most part, like you said, like if we didn't get that background story from them, then we'd be like, oh, like we wouldn't care about like their characters as much. But the fact that they kind of like dove deep into it, and then like next thing you know, like their leader kind of just like let them be, like left them out for dry. And can you go 1, 2, 3? Cut that. Sorry, Josh. But like I said, yeah, it just brings substance to things, I think. And obviously when their leader kind of just leaves them out to dry, and you just start to learn more about them as the movie goes on, you care a little bit more. And at the end, honestly, like the one that was captured and given the 33-year prison sentence, like I legit felt bad for a quick second. Like, wow, like he just wanted just normal, peaceful life. Like he wanted just to be a fisherman. And the next thing you know, like he's getting gypped by these Navy SEALs. And
Yeah, so
left out to dry.
This the first time I watched this movie, I did not. I mean, I won't go right to the ending quite yet, but that is not at all what I expected. I did not know what happened in this, but I was just like, "Holy cow!" But yeah, no. So to kind of continue through the movie, after that, we kind of get to see, Captain Phillips get onto the ship. He's kind of walking around seeing, this thing's pretty beat up. It looks like none of the locks work. This looks pretty ruckety. And you can kind of tell his attitude right off the bat. He walks into the break room. The guys are kind of just sitting down having a coffee. He's like, all right, that's 15. Everyone's like, come on, who is this guy? And from my understanding, reading a little bit after this movie, the real life Captain Phillips was not the nicest. He was kind of a dick. So they did kind of help portray that a little bit. They get out to sea there after at that point the pirates have kind of picked who they want on their teams. I guess you could call it.
It reminded me of like a NFL draft. Like, hey, you're going to be our starting quarterback.
Something like that, or maybe like I thought to me it was more like elementary, like picking your dodgeball teammates.
Literally.
So they grab them. They go out to sea. At that point, right before actually, Captain Phillips is like, you know what? Let's just run a test drill now that we're out to sea. Because of where we're going. Runs a test drill. Everyone, okay. No one's too excited. Not even 10 minutes later in the movie. I don't know what the real course of events was in real life, but 10 minutes later, he's like, wait a minute. There's two things popping up on the radar here. What's going on?
I think in the movie it was like simultaneously, like back to back. Like they got done with the tests, and next thing you know, like there's two
things on the radar. Yeah. So he calls out another, and he's like, you know what, guys, actually, real deal here. Let's get ready. Let's get everything rocking and rolling. Let's just see if the crew in the God, what is that called? Like where the ship is commanded on a ship.
Engine room?
No, like where you actually pilot it. Like the
command center?
It has a name.
The Astro Command Center. The Astro Command Center.
We're gonna call it the Command Center, and if I feel like not being lazy, I'll throw the real word on the YouTube.
Quarters.
Something like that. The bridge.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Mr. Krabs' office.
Yeah, Mr. Krabs' office. So the team there at the bridge is like, oh, maybe it's just fishermen, and Tom Hanks kind of looking like, maybe, let's just see if they follow. I really liked the part when he can see they're getting close. I like how he calls the U.S. Maritime Emergency Line. No one picks up. No answer. How unsettling.
Very accurate.
How unsettling is that? Your emergency line, and they're just like, no answer. He's like, all right, call the next one. Call the UK. See if they pick up. They do. They say, probably just fishermen. And, he's like, nah, I don't think these are fishermen.
So I don't get that either. Why doesn't he call them back? Like, hey, like there's literally 10 guys with guns following us. Like, Help.
I don't know.
Help.
Maybe they did in real life, and that was part of the movie. But I do like he gets on the phone there and pretends to be a like gunship overhead because he figures they have walkie talkies. That was not in the book or in real life, but good dramatization for the
Oh yeah,
movie because it
always.
gave it a little. You're like, what the hell is he doing? And they're
Yeah.
looking up in the sky. Wait a minute, gunship 10 minutes out. That'd have been great if we had that in real life. That would have probably quickly. There's a AC-130 overhead that would have probably cleaned things up much quicker.
Oh yeah.
Not quite how it went, but yeah, the pirates try and approach, doesn't work out the first time. Engine blows up, and ship kind of goes back to normal for what they think for about a day, if that.
Josh, what do you
Yeah.
think about the timing after that? So they do the waves and all that. They get them kind of brushed off them a little bit. They make a little bit of time, and then they just like show up magically again. They're like, oh my god! Like next morning, everybody wakes up like, hey, like we're getting we're getting chased.
Yeah. Yeah, they ended up adding I think 2 engines to the boat they're on to try to, be able to fight through those waves, pretty sure. And then
They did, yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
kind
they
of
only
kills
went
his
with
rival
they only
too.
went with one boat. They just I think they just
Yeah.
grabbed the engine off the other boat and said, "Fuck it,
And
just put
welded
2
it
on
onto
1."
the
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah.
So why couldn't
No.
someone like sit like right where they were trying to hook the ladder and just pop it off?
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Well, they had guns.
They had guns.
I mean, I guess
Yeah, I
you
don't
could
know, it's
put
tough.
yourself underneath. But so I really like as they show up. I thought this was really cool, and I noticed this because it's the second time I watched this movie, and it's fresh in my brain. Also, I drank an energy drink right before this episode. If you can't tell, that's why I'm talking so much. Mike's got one too. He just threw it on the camera. But I like as they're attaching the ladder. Captain Phillips is telling his crew there on the bridge like what's exactly going down, and the second that the guy's climbing up and they're still trying to go left and right with the boat, the second that the guy steps foot, the first one, they kill the music, like the score in the background, and I like that a lot because it made it tense. You're like, oh shit, they're on. And they're still at that point trying to move the ship to like make things work, but
Yeah.
obviously
I think the
it
hose
doesn't work
idea
out.
was cool too. The
But
way
they
they
don't
have the
have
hoses all around the
Yeah.
ship. I mean, obviously
They-
it didn't work too well
they
for
don't
them,
have
but like it is a
more
cool
than-
idea.
than just hoses. They don't have a gun on board. Like
Yeah, they had those flares or whatever. Also, why would they have? Is there a reason why they would have like 30 grand in cash in the safe? Is there a reason for that, or
but no gun.
My guess is
I
maybe
just thought it was
for,
kind of a random amount.
I know
to
I
have in
thought
the
that
safe.
too. My guess, I'm sure you could look it up, is for maybe when they're like ashore, if there's like any emergency expenses they need for something. That's my guess.
Okay.
Or maybe
Yeah.
it is ransom money. I don't know. Like, hey, we
Yeah.
got 30K. See you later. Hard to
But
tell.
do you blame them? They don't hijack a ship like that just to get 30K. Like
Yeah, they get on board
No.
and they're like,
Yeah.
"You think I'm a joke? 30
yeah,
grand? Like,
look at me.
I
I
make
know,
that in a
yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am the captain now. Quote. I feel like that's
got to be
that's
the most
probably
iconic."
one of the most iconic lines, especially in a Tom Hanks movie. Probably, I'd say. And it's in the movie trivia, but I'll mention it now. Apparently, it was like ad libbed in there, so they just kind of added it after the fact. I think it worked really well.
I didn't even
Oh, God,
notice. It does work
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the that's a. I mean, Mike and like Brian didn't even see the movie, and they knew
Oh, yeah.
that line. So I think that goes to show how popular it is from someone who hasn't even seen the movie.
I mean, it's for sure one of the biggest memes probably like ever, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. Like I've seen that picture of him just like putting his fingers to his eyelids and just like looking right at Tom Hanks. Like I've seen
Yeah.
that picture probably a million times before I watched this movie today.
Yeah, and I think it's smart too the way the crew hides. You know, they Tom Hanks is talking to them, or Captain Phillips rather is talking to them. He's got like his finger on the walkie, so like the whole team can hear. There's moments like that he like is like, hey, let's go get water first because it's gonna be hot in the engine room. It's just smart things like that where, you know, it's interesting to see him kind of think on his feet, I guess.
Yeah.
And then too, even to the point where like they break glass when they go down the engine room because he notices one of them are barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
That works out in their favor.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's intense. What did you think of that? Like watching it for the first time, Mike? Did you think someone was going to die on the ship? What did you think?
So you texted me right when they were at the point where he was about to get saved, and you're like, I forgot how heartbreaking this was, and I was like, oh my god, don't tell me he fucking dies. So like,
Really?
I didn't really know what to expect in this movie, to be honest with you. I thought it was gonna be pretty like typical, like, hey, like, they get saved, maybe one or two people dies, but I didn't think anybody like major would die. And
yeah,
obviously to my to my thinking, I was pretty accurate with that. But I thought that was a pretty good kind of like tidbit to throw in there for sure. I will say when it got towards the end, it almost felt like it didn't happen. Like when they were on like the little mini like orange sailboat, it was just like, hey, like he's just moving around just fine. So
yeah.
but I think for the most part, it's definitely a good little minor detail in the movie, kind of just to affect things for a little bit.
Yeah, and then they take that Muse character, their captain of the pirates, hostage, and then they have to trade captains. I thought that whole scene is super intense. It's like, how do you trade with him when you guys have one knife to this guy's throat, and the rest of these guys have like full blown AK-47s? You know what I mean?
And that's the point where things really flip for me. I did not expect like this movie to look like that towards the end. I thought it'd be way more of like if I'm being honest with you, just thinking about it, like way more people, like way more pirates, like joining on board, like more death. To be honest with you, I didn't think it'd be more like kind of personal and just like that 5 like core group of pirates in that boat with obviously
it really
Captain
is,
Phillips.
and how this kind of goes down. I feel like it's really surprising. I mean, the first you kind of see, the Navy shows up. That first ship, business is there. Tom Hanks, he gets ecstatic. He's like, oh my gosh, I might actually be saved. Like
He said, you're fucked.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's like, they called the Navy, like they don't play around. And as it progresses, Tom Hanks realizes, like, as the pirates aren't really giving up and things aren't going well, he kind of realizes, and this was what makes it sad and emotional, like the Navy would rather sink the ship than let it get there. They don't want to have to deal with a U.S. hostage in Somalia, trying to get him out. They'd rather just blow that bitch up and be like, oops,
Yeah.
accident.
Sad but true.
But
dude, when they get on that little boat, I didn't realize this, and I've seen this movie a couple times. I think whenever I think of this movie, I always think of them on the cargo ship. There's a little over an hour left when they get on that little.
Yeah, that's what I was
boat.
saying. That's like
crazy.
Half this movie. And I like how, right off the bat, the Navy shows up and they're like, all right, let's take care of business. But the captain of that, or the commander of that Navy ship, is told pretty quickly, like, hey, you got 24 hours to handle this, or the Navy SEALs are coming, and they're just they have the order from the White House to just do whatever it takes. Like, you will go sit down and just wait for them to handle business.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy, because I guess I did read on that. That is true. Like, they literally just pull up in SUVs and parachute out of a plane into the water, get there and just like take over. Like, they have the green light. Yeah, like they have the green light from the White House, so they can do whatever they need to and whatever it takes. Which is kind of crazy to be like in that position.
Every life is worthy, but think about it, like from I'm being devil's advocate right now. Think about it from like a politician standpoint, like one captain versus a whole big news thing of a hostage situation, and you can kind of clean it up a little bit, like, oh, they shot at us, everybody died. Like,
it's still though, Mike. He's an American, and just looks bad if they take him.
And that's that's what they're looking at. The pirates right away when they're like, "What kind of ship?" and they're like, "Oh, American, yay, like big money." Because we do. The U.S. we pay. We would sometimes pay if we can get it like maybe a under the table kind of thing. But this they knew was going to be. That's what they said in the movie. They said, "Hey, this is public. you know, the president said to just take care of it,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
whatever it takes to get our guy back.
Yeah.
Can we talk about him writing that note at the end now?
Oh, very emotional.
I wasn't ready for that shit, man. I really was not.
Music's getting tense, scores getting
Dude.
crazy. He's figuring I'm going in a body bag. The SEALs are just trying to get everything perfect because they got one shot at that. Literally, like
Well, it was smart for him to tell them what seat he's in too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was him, which was intelligent on his
Yeah.
part, to let them know, because the Navy at that point was able to coordinate where not to shoot.
Yeah. To
Crazy.
map out that boat and yeah.
That
So,
is insane to be able to
Was
pull
that
that off.
paper and that note in that little bag that they gave for Captain Phillips when they like were giving supplies and stuff like that in that little exchange before?
I'm not sure. It might have just been the shirt.
Yeah, I think it was just the shirt.
I think there was like a whole bunch of stuff in the bag, but I could be wrong.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe it was
Yeah,
like stuff to just keep him alive.
Well, what did you guys think of the part where he lies and says he has to go take a piss, and then pushes like the 16-year-old in the water
what I
and tries
would've
to
done.
swim for it? That's a long swim, and the
I
tide
thought
is kind of crazy.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, bro does not understand how far of a swim that is in the
No.
ocean. Not only that, but I learned this.
Dehydrated.
My dad told me this. He was in the Navy. Apparently, it's pretty common for. I mean, I don't know. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. This is from my dad. But apparently, sharks typically follow those ships because they let out waste and food and stuff like that. So,
Oh my god, really?
you'd have sharks following that Navy ship as well, possibly. I don't
Imagine
know.
a shark took him out instead.
that would be so unfortunate, man.
Yeah. I don't know if I mean, I get what he was trying to do, trying to, swim and get out of there. At that point, the pirates did not care. You've got that one angry guy, I forget his name, that kind of took command of the
Well, it's
little
like, too,
boat.
okay, they're watching this orange boat at night, right? Yes, it's at night, but they're watching it constantly. How do you not see him stand out there pretending to pee and then pushing him and jumping in? Because they knew two people were in the water, but they couldn't tell if one of them was Captain Phillips or not.
Phillips,
That was
yeah.
the problem. Yeah, so it's like, I don't
Dude,
know.
how do
You
you-
guys
Well,
are supposed to be watching this.
we
You got
shouldn't
three
even-
big-ass ships watching this.
We shouldn't even be
Yeah.
surprised, because right now, as of recording this, the Air Force lost an F-35 jet, which is apparently flying in the air right now, and they don't know
Wow.
where it's at, and there's no... Yeah, did you guys know that?
No, so this
No.
recording could just be stopped. We can be bombed right now. We could just
Yeah, we have
really
a
die.
U.S. fighter jet that is apparently... the pilot had to eject yesterday, so he ejected out, but the aircraft then went into autopilot and started just cruising around, and they don't...
I hope it doesn't.
They
I
don't
hope
have
it doesn't.
GPS on it?
It was only a Gen 5 state-of-the-art $80 million fighter jet, and I guess they can't track
With
it.
infinite fuel?
Yeah, that's the thing. It is going to run out eventually.
I'm
Now, I
surprised it
don't
hasn't
know.
already.
I don't know if the autopilot is smart enough to land itself, or if it just
Probably not.
crashes
If it
itself.
doesn't have GPS, it probably cannot land.
Here's the thing.
itself.
I hope it crashes. It doesn't hurt anybody. I hope that doesn't happen. But I hope that it crashes somewhere and it makes a huge fucking deal. Because how
Maybe
does that happen, bro? How does that happen?
Mind blowing, Mike. Mind blowing.
Like, come on.
Probably crashed in the water,
Yeah,
if I had to assume. But
for sure.
Yeah. So
yeah, and then they get quickscope. No, I mean, yeah, Muse gets off the ship. He thinks he's meeting the elders, which is like, I don't know. Is that believable? I'm kind of shocked that he fell for it.
Well, at that point, he's pretty desperate.
I liked how you could tell the switch and how things were handled.
Yeah,
Once
he
it was
gets on the ship.
Yeah, that. Oh no, I was talking like once the Navy's doing it versus once the SEALs take over. Like the first thing that guy
Okay.
says on the phone is like, "Hey, I got your money." That's how he starts the conversation.
Yeah,
He knows he's full of shit, and he's gonna manipulate these people at this point. It's like, all right, I'm not gonna play by the rules. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
pretend. He's just like, yeah, I got your money, and we're gonna make a deal.
You
I
gotta
also
tether
liked
your ship.
Yep. I liked how right away when the Navy showed up and they got him on the phone too. They're like, "So we've got you, and they just like drop their names to him, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And then they
Yep.
have a guy that speaks their language too, like just start
Yeah.
rambling. They're like, "Oh my!" I think they said they have a spy.
Yeah.
So no, definitely a enjoyable movie from the U.S. perspective. I don't know how enjoyable it'd be if you're Somalian and you were watching this movie. They might be burning flags.
Well, it blows my mind that like you're gonna go around the Horn of fucking Africa without a single gun in a ship.
Yeah, so I looked that up after I finished this movie recently. Apparently, after this, there was a change, not by the government or anything like that, but I guess a lot of these big ocean freight companies now hire private security and military with weapons, which mind blowing how that wasn't a thing before. Like not even a handgun on the boat.
Yeah.
It's
One.
okay, but it's comparable to like 9/11 though. Like, why was there not more security beforehand?
Before it,
why does something
takes-
tragic have to happen for something
before we start thinking?
to spark something like that?
Yeah, because this pirates could have easily just got on that boat and killed everyone.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
So, and to watch, Phillips in the last few moments, like on that ship, like Mike mentioned earlier, writing that note was heartbreaking. Trying to, attack the most angry one out of the three that are left still on there.
Not his name, I think.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Just give it a few more minutes. Like, sit in your seat. I don't know.
Well, he doesn't know what they're cooking.
Yeah, he doesn't know. Yeah. But
he's thinking
crazy.
He's thinking they're about to just probably drop a bomb on that ship, just blow the whole thing up. He doesn't know that they're concocting, a triple kill.
Yeah.
You know what's the hardest fucking scene in this movie is when they quick scope all three of them on the orange little on the little blob in the water. And all of them are just walking back with their fucking snipers on their shoulders.
Yeah, like business.
Just like business, dude. It was like MW2 all over again, bro. That shit was so cool.
Those motherfuckers at that those top of the tier like military groups, they have to not only be like grunty but also like incredibly smart as well. Like they have to, those individuals that are a part of those top SEAL teams, like they're not only strong and capable, but they have to be very intelligent to like carry that stuff out. Know what I mean, they just showed up and took care of business. Like it was just another day's work.
You know how desensitized to like that stuff you have to be? Like I couldn't imagine
pretty horrible. Yeah, literally like you said, Mike, they were like, okay, well, all right, time to go home to food. Hey, honey, what'd you do today?
Just quick scoped Harris.
Yeah, how about you? Took the kids to school.
If we're being technical, it's a hard scope, but I mean,
it was a hard scope. Yeah,
it was a hard scope.
Well, the third one, because they had to get all three green lights, and then they got that third green light, and it was just like, now. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
And whoever had the driver just had the easiest job. The guy was just sitting there the whole time blinded, basically, by that light that they had.
Yeah, man.
I know that was the Navy's call too. Hey, we need you to still drive. They didn't need him to drive. That was purely just
to sit in that seat.
I was wondering that too. He was sitting there like moving the wheel. I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Like
that was purely just to keep that motherfucker in his seat. We need you to steer. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna tell you guys this from like a first viewer perspective. I will say when they tied up Captain Phillips and he was like hanging up there, I for sure thought he was gonna die.
So did I.
I was almost certain that he was gonna die.
Yeah. No, it's intense, dude. And then they blindfold him, and then when they all get shot, he just has like all their blood all over him. It's ugh. And from this point on, like this is really, really when Tom Hanks deserves to win the Oscar.
This is when his acting because he does a great job.
I mean, he did great all the way to this point, but like he just kicks it to 11.
Distraught. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was gonna say who won the Oscar.
In 2013,
who beat him
I'll have
out?
to look. They were nominated for a ton of stuff and got snubbed, and it's regarded as one of the biggest snubs
Really?
like of that year. Yeah, he was nominated for like best actor and stuff like that, but didn't win it.
Jesus Christ. Well, anyway, if it's someone that, if it's like a performance that like I can see, like by all means, if it's comparable, then I'll let it go. Just because I don't think his acting was anything insane up until this point of the movie. I will say that. Like, but it was like from that point forward to the end of the movie where I was like, all right,
He
dude,
killed
like,
it.
This is like one of the craziest like 4 or 5 minutes of like acting I've ever seen in my life.
Because
like,
he does a fantastic job of like being there or just really soaking that in. Like he's you know what he does that he's really, this is really weird, but this is how you know you're a good actor. He's not even talking. He's lost for words,
yeah.
but you can feel that. You can feel that in him, how he's portraying his emotions. He doesn't have many lines from the second after there's that shooting to the end. It's pretty, I don't know, he says a couple of words from there on out. You know, they grab him.
Yeah, when he's in shock, like you said, when they grab him off the boat and the doctor's like checking him out, I think that's one of the best scenes from this movie, for sure. It's like heartbreaking to watch. Like that part is heartbreaking to watch. I mean, he's like, does my family know I'm okay? Like, but he's just in complete shock. He doesn't know if he should be crying. He doesn't know, you know, if he's not breathing right because he's in shock.
Yeah, and they're asking him too, you know, is it, which was kind of an ignorant question, but they asked him like, is all this blood from the gash on your head? Bro's covered in blood, like
yeah, bro,
soaked in blood. He's like, he does a great job with the performance. Like, no, I don't think he's looking around at himself at that point, you know, realizing he's covered in blood. Not sure why the Navy would even ask that dumbass question, but
yeah,
yeah, all that's coming from the little
too. A lot of blood. PG-13.
So
I think they did a good job for PG-13. I'm glad it actually wasn't R. I think R would have maybe made it I mean, it would have worked, don't get me wrong, but it might have been a little too gruesome.
Yeah.
This would be one, though, where I'm like, is it rated R? Like, if you told me about it, like, I wouldn't be completely sure if it is PG-13 or R, because I feel like it is really close.
I feel like if it was R, there's a lot of misses in terms of, like, how dark and deep it could have went. But I can see PG-13, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln got it.
Okay.
So, like, I don't think I've ever seen that. And
I have not seen that, unfortunately.
I can't speak on that, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
I just think Tom Hanks is one of the GOATs, so it's like...
For a drama-esque, you could maybe almost lop this in as a thriller, sort of.
Based off a true story, like, I feel like the Academy eats that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think. But
you would think.
I guess Lincoln technically is too, though.
Yeah,
to that movie's credit, but still.
Yeah, no.
We're alive for this one.
Yeah, because I think this happened in what, 2008? 9? Okay, 9.
Yeah. Yeah, and it came out in 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really turned around quick with it.
They said that he went back to the sea the next year.
Like a year later.
Like a year later.
I would be done. I'd be like, bro, fuck you guys.
Yeah, I would have been good with that. I'd have been like, thanks, I'm good. Unless you allow me to carry, a bulletproof vest and maybe a gun, then sure. I'll keep.
I swear to God, if that happened to me, I'm going to Red Dead Redemption. 2 double barrel fucking shotguns on my side. Like I'm there. No, I'm not letting that happen again.
Yeah. The movie trivia for this is really good. Here, I'll read into it. In real life, one of the men, Captain Phillips, in Captain Phillips' crew, sued him after the incident. He claimed that Phillips... Yeah, I did not know this. He claimed that Phillips was well aware of the danger in those waters, but went through it anyways. He wanted to get the shipment to the harbor faster, so that's why they took the route, even though the shipping company itself sent him a note advising him to avoid those seas. Isn't that insane? They don't mention that in the movie.
No.
They don't mention
Probably because you wouldn't be on his side as much.
Yeah, wouldn't portray him as much of a hero, but also I wonder what kind of incentive that shipping company, we don't know that either, where they're like, hey, if you go through these waters, that's an extra $20K.
They slipped him another 6 figures just to get there a couple hours earlier.
Yeah. Josh, you did some ocean freight shipping. Got any comments on that?
I would have avoided it at all costs.
Yeah.
I
Josh
would
had
have
him
sued
going.
too if I were that guy.
Josh had him. I remember he used to be like, "Yeah, I sent 7 ships through the Horn of Africa today." That was his typical route. For anyone listening, that's what Josh used to send his ships through.
The line "Look at me, I'm the captain now" was ad-libbed by the actor. We mentioned that earlier. During an interview with Tom Hanks, he said the first time he met the actors playing the Somalian pirates was when they started filming the pirates taking over the bridge. Paul Greengrass mentioned he did this intentionally to build up the tension between the actors on board of the ship. Very smart. I think that's really cool. Definitely did, for sure. The hospital corpsman in the infirmary scene was a real Navy corpsman. The director told her to treat Tom Hanks like he was a regular military patient. So, Andrew, that's protocol. That is a real Navy SEALs doctor right there.
Is this your blood? That was a real question that they would ask, apparently.
Yeah, the scene was completely. This is it. The scene was completely unscripted and improvised. That's Tom Hanks.
Interesting.
That is Tom Hanks.
Jeez,
crazy.
He did a good job then.
Yeah. The actor that plays Muse, Barkhead Abdi, only earned $65,000 for his role, and after it was completed, he went back to work with his brother at a mobile phone store in Minneapolis.
Damn.
Crazy. Yeah.
He might want to consider.
He did great in this movie too.
He might want to
he
consider
better
hijacking.
fucking
Needs more roles. Yeah, dude. His character hijacked this boat and could have got half the money. Crazy.
Someone get this guy out to seas. Let's get him a boat.
Okay. Let's chill a little bit on that.
All right.
I mean, he's a no-name guy, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
65K.
no,
and
he
you'd think
did
he'd get more work.
He did an awesome job, honestly, as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's the second main actor in this movie, I'd argue.
Yeah,
So
he did good.
none of the U.S. Navy crew members in the background of any of these scenes were actually background actors. They were actually part of the Navy SEALs. They were considered on duty and received a regular U.S. Navy pay.
Damn.
Can you imagine that?
Fucking cheap motherfucking no good studio, goddamn no good.
Yeah. Well, let's get the actual Navy, and we'll just pay them their wage.
Hey, so we don't really want to pay you the movie studio wage, so what exactly do you make? How low can we go?
I mean, according to the strike for extras and background actors, they probably made more that way. I don't know.
That's true.
But I think it added to the realism of the movie, like the real
I
SEALs.
guess it did.
God, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I
thought that was pretty
They used
cool.
the Navy ship, too. They were like, hey, we need to borrow your ship.
Probably. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Despite receiving nominations for Best Actor at the Golden Globes, Screen Actors Guild, and the Creators' Choice Awards, Tom Hanks failed to receive an Academy nomination. Critics, audiences, and major film groups considered this a major snub at the time. So, yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think he did a great job. I feel like you could rewatch this movie.
I mean, I've seen it 3 times now, I think.
Yeah, I guess I've only seen it twice.
I've enjoyed it I just watched it today. The ending
But
almost
the
had me in
first
tears.
time I enjoyed it, and the second time I enjoyed it. So
Yeah. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
But do you guys want to get into reviews here? Some scores?
let's get those scores going.
Yeah. I can go first here. So I'll keep it short and simple. I really like this movie. I think Tom Hanks did an awesome job. Probably one of his better roles. I think we can all agree on that. All the other actors, pretty no name. I really couldn't name you a single actor outside of the girl from 40-Year-Old Virgin. But besides that, they did an amazing job. And if they're getting paid $65,000, I'm sure probably the other crew members got paid a little bit more. So I'm sure they're doing just fine. But it's still it's crazy.
This movie. Tom Hanks got 50% of the budget, and the rest went to everyone else.
I know it cost $50 million to make, and in the U.S. alone, it made $107 million. So definitely made a profit.
So it made a profit for sure. Yeah. But again, like I said, I think the supporting cast and Tom Hanks did an awesome job. It was a little bit more unexpected than I thought it'd be, to be honest with you, in terms of just like the route they took, just with the negotiation and all that stuff, kept me on my toes. So, like I said, short and simple, I'm going to give it an 89 out of 100. I really like this movie, and I'm really glad that I didn't skip out on this, because I've been putting this movie off forever to watch, ever since probably like 10 years ago, whenever it came out. Ever since I seen that meme, I was like, I gotta watch that fucking movie.
Yeah, it's on Netflix right now. If anyone hasn't
Yeah.
seen it,
Mhm.
if you get all this way through it, we spoiled it for you, but you can go watch it for yourself. Also, I didn't know Kevin Spacey, executive producer on this movie. Did not know that. Yeah, but I can go next here. Mike hit on a lot of the stuff. I think even though some of these people were no-named actors, I think they really brought a lot to the table. I think they are very good at what they did in this movie, so I think they do deserve more work if they haven't already. Obviously, this movie's 10 years old now. But yeah, I think Captain Phillips probably is a dick in real life, especially if he went through those waters knowing damn well how dangerous it was. But yeah, it's a movie that I've come back to quite a few times. I've seen it 3 times for sure, maybe 4. So really enjoy this movie. I'm going to give it a 90 flat. I really liked it a lot. I think definitely is rewatchable, and I feel like everyone should watch it. It's really good. I think it's one of Tom Hanks' best. One of them. I mean, he has so many. It's insane, but top 10 for sure, I'd say. So
I think so. I'll finish this off. I recommended this movie, so I feel like I got to give it a score worthy of that. I'm going to go 94, a little higher than you guys. Not quite in my... For me, 95 to 100 is the you have to watch. But I feel good with the 94. I'd say this is still worth your watch, especially while it's on Netflix. Check it out. It's definitely worth it. I feel like we touched on pretty much everything. I really like the score in this movie. Like Josh and Mike both said, not a big bunch of big name actors, but everyone that's in this does a fantastic job, and they deserve any work that could come their way. But yeah, no, I'm cool with a 94 on this one, and yeah, that's Captain Phillips.
Yeah, so thank you guys for listening. We'll be back on Friday with Dumb Money, the movie based on GameStop stocks. Diamond Hands. This one I'm very excited to see. I think the cast is great. And this is pretty recent for us. I remember me and Andrew at the time we're at Target together, and we were looking at it, and I went the AMC route, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm excited to see it.
I did not go the AMC route.
Did you end up buying GameStop?
Yeah, I did.
We looked at it. I remember the day we looked at it.
I was able to sell it.
$17,
and I made
$17 at that time.
$100.
Oh, okay. What did you buy it at? Do you remember?
I was like mid hype. I wasn't. Okay. I can't even. Yeah,
we'll look into it. We'll look into it for the episode, and then we'll mention it.
I bought like mid hype, not at peak, like a moron, but I was like, it was on its way up. I bought, and then
was it Robinhood?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to make
like
$100 or $150. Nothing that changed my life, unfortunately.
Hey man, it's still $150 though.
This is true.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, we'll be back on Friday. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Mike, say it.
Mike is the captain now.
Look at me. I am the captain now. I am the captain.
Perfect.
Thanks, Mike.